Well, I'm Neko, Wong-Houle, and I'm in high school. I'm a queer Indigenous woman, and I strive to be an animator.
I'm Terrance Houle. I am a professional artist, full-time, and a full-time dad. And our film is called Otanimm, Onnimm, which means father-daughter.
It was more fun to kind of break free from the only showing your perspective, and now like my perspective can come in and I can kind of be more part of the work rather than always seeing your work. Or not that that's a bad thing, I like seeing your work, but not always just being the assistant, but now I have more of a bigger role rather than, so it's kind of, in a way, I'm breaking free from that shell, but also maintaining our relationship and our work.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I mean, it was a learning process for sure.
Yeah.
Because Neko was doing full-time school, and then I had my own art practice, and then here we were trying to fit in all this really tedious stuff. So there were times that she was very frustrated with me.
Yeah.
And I kind of had to put the director producer hat on and be like, okay, we got to get this done. We got to do it. And she would be just like, dad.
But at that point I had to like realize that you weren't coming at me as my dad, you were coming at me as a director and as a co-director. So it's kind of interesting, like seeing not that breakaway from the relationship, but that kind of change. That's where I assisted you a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And you showed me a lot of processes. So it kind of came like full circle. So like that's where I learned a lot. And then like now I was able to go into that space and take what I've learned and then also create.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I didn't feel like I didn't feel like normally like I was the head director or anything like that. I really let Neko take the reins of what the direction of how everything went, and the writing, basically the writing and how we should edit it and things like that was really up to Neko. And I feel like I was more along for the ride. Like she was piggybacking me.
Like personally, I've never really seen representation in media of people like me. So I think being able to give back to people like me through this film and through my future work is really important. And that's something that I want to carry out throughout my career. Well, it's going to be confusing and it's going to be a lot. And I think finding somewhere to put all of that emotion and all of that confusion, such as art, animation, film, or if you're, I don't know, into dance or something, then that's where you should put it and that's where you should channel your energy, because it'll come back to you and you will feel your work and accomplishment with your work. I hope that's okay. On being in the girl's point of view, that's that means a lot to me.
Like, did you think about that perspective when we were making this? That, there's a point of view that you have with
Not
in the film.
really. But like, well, while I was making it, not really. But as I rewatch it, I was kind of like, whoa, like, like, that's where I was coming from. And also reflecting back on the process, it's like, oh, um, they were kind of different in a way from like where I was coming from with the concept and then how I was approaching the work. They're quite different at the time, but I think in the end they kind of came together, especially when I saw the final product. Then it was like, oh, like this is why I was doing this because um, because I needed to express myself, and I think he needed to do that too, and we did that together. I don't know, it's just it's crazy to try and wrap my head around being who girls would look up to. Because, I mean, I've always had a good grandmother and a good great grandmother as role models for what it means to be a woman. But I've never had my throat is dry.
Yeah, you can.
I've never really had a strong mother figure, and I think a part of the film as well is to show is to show that mothers aren't the only female woman figure that you can have in your life. You can have a dad, a proud dad. You can have a grandmother, a great grandmother. You can just even find it in media. So hopefully, like, I can at least be a part of that to someone else who will view the film.
And I think that's something we've always known with our family, being Indigenous, is your aunties, and your grandmothers, and they're all mothers. There's no, like, in our language we don't have a word for auntie. It's usually just mother or father or things like that. So I think that's one of the sort of underlying Indigenous things with the film is.
Which is kind of weird to reflect back on, because that's just how I've grown up, is that Indigenous perspective on women and how you learn from all of them in your family.
When I watched the film, or we would watch the film, it would really sort of make us feel like everything was okay. That,
or it's like, we did it, we can do it again, kind of a thing.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been this. To be honest, this is probably one of the harder projects that I've ever worked on. Not harder, but just it's the emotions and the things that we went through to create this piece has been, more so than anything I've ever worked on. So, and just to collaborate with my child is a dream. we're really grateful. Nico's really grateful because of the New York.
So I'm in an art program at my high school, and in grade 12 we have a trip to New York. So we go there for a week. We go to the galleries and the museums, and we supposed to we they'll take us to the Apollo. And so we kind of, it was this big hyped up thing for grade 12, and because of COVID, sadly it's not possible, but in my mind I made it. In spirit and through the film I made it to New York, so it really does mean a lot.